All of the actors here portray animals. And considering the quality of this show, newspapers should be spread on the stage. The animals live in a meadow and have such names as toad and rat and mole. I will show them to you. Mole is the short blonde who has come out of her mole hole to see the world and has been befriended by Rat, the tall guy, and Toad, hosting a luncheon at his home, Toad Hall. Toad says his illustrious ancestors include the artist, Michelangelo Toad, the writer, Edgar Allan Toad, and the president, George Washington Toad. I wanted to punch him. Toad and friends also sing.
When Tony took up ballet, my jumps were all the rage. We had to tie his tutu down and keep him on the stage. No partner could contain me. For once I met my feet. It's lucky I was waiting there to catch him in the street. Oh, that's when friends are born, loyal to and core.
Now there's a trace of plot. There's the old familiar love story of a mole falling for a rat. And there's an evil weasel who wants to move up from the swamp and into Toad Hall. But the poor actors might just as well have been reciting the Albanian phone book. The story and songs are comatose, the sets tacky, the lighting, costumes, and direction deplorable. The entire enterprise is amateur night, and despite a couple of talented performers, the show has the tension of water. The sad part is a couple of $1 million were thrown away on this dribble. During the 2.5 hours with Rat and Mole and Toad, I began to think of bear and hibernating for the winter. Wind in the Willows. Somebody call the SPCA. This is Stuart Klein.
Kenneth Graham's fantasy, Wind in the Willows, has survived as a children's classic since 1908, and it will certainly survive the Broadway musical at the Nederlander. I'm not sure about the audiences. The book by Jane Iredale is as dull as the songs are uninspired, and the costuming and makeup are simply confusing. In this story of a mole turned female by Vicki Lewis in this version, who discovers the world above ground, she's befriended by a water rat, David Carroll, looking more like a werewolf. Mole makes friends with the badger, who looks like a skunk, with rabbits and the presumed comedy star of the show, Nathan Lane's Toad of Toad Hall.
The really important thing in life has nothing to do with bloodlines, however noble, but everything to do with loyal friends, and that, thank goodness, is what I have in Rat. Oh, that's very kind, Toad. Here's to good friends.
What's it like to have a friend? Though I've read a lot about them, I have lived my life without them, and the things that you read often seem to be true.
You've never had a friend. My friend's a lovely life worth living.
The villains of the piece are the weasels and stoats of the Wildwood, who look like refugees from a road company of West Side Story, and are the victims of elementary choreography. Children might like the rudimentary rhymes of the lyrics and the puns if they can stay awake. Though it's not easy to sleep through Wind in the Willows, it has such an air of noisy desperation.
I know Wind in the Willows best as the basis for Mr. Toad's Wild Ride at Disneyland, but it's become something of a yuppie classic, a book about an upwardly mobile badger, mole, and river rat who inhabit a Victorian England countryside. It's become the first yuppie musical. So much so, you expect Mr. Toad to take a BMW out on one of his wild rides and serve melted brie at one of his fabulous champagne suppers. And you wonder why they didn't open this musical on Columbus Avenue instead of Broadway. At its best, the show has a college musical feel, a lot of spirit, clever puns in the lyrics, good tunes, but the show also has a college musical look. They give us Toad Hall warts and all, but they give us too many warts. It's not up to Broadway, it's not even up to Columbus Avenue, and the real failure, if you're not a fan of the book, you are lost in the wildwood here. The show never takes on a life of its own. The real success, the terrific talent, especially Nathan Lane, who plays Toad, a real comic find. He is a wonderful Toad. Unfortunately, he does not become a prince by the evening's end, and neither does the show. Wind in the Willows, it's an ill wind. I'm Joel Siegel, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.